In this video, we are going to learn how to make use of this render. And we're able to learn how to make use of this HTTP response to render our information on the screen on a fly. So to make use of this render is basically simple. We need to actually render. What this render does is actually render a particular file, our HTML file or a CSS file. To actually do this is actually go to this of our task. We're going to create a particular folder. I'm going to create a particular folder that holds that of all of our HTML files. So do this in this of the not this in this of the main task, this of our application, which is this of the task. We are going to right click on it. If you are using VS Code, we are going to create a new folder inside it of it. Its name must do it on VS Code. Go to maybe your file explorer, creating a folder. You must name it or templates. Remember, this naming convention is really important when it comes to scenario of Django. And then when you are done this of folder or a particular part which is actually named templates, we are going to create another folder which is going to have these tags, can say this of our application name on this. We are going to create a new folder. I'm going to say new folder is going to be tags. So with this, we are good to go. Here we can now create our HTML file. So I can say out of this task, I'm going to create our new file. It's going to do what? Here I can say our home dot what HTML simple as this. So for us to create a basics HTML file, we can say what HTML. If you are using VS Code, just go to this HTML file. It's going to click on it. It's going to help you with a whole lot of things that you don't need to stress yourself, right? But in a scenario whereby you don't have VS Code or the IDE you're using doesn't really do this kind of things for you, maybe you just copy this and type it. It's not really much. This is doc type, HTML lang is defined. This is head, meta, UTF-8, a whole lot of other things. Here is signify our title. So now you want to give something like what? Tax manager, simple as that. Here, because the title the head is here, is going to put some information that is not going to be available. So they just want to do here, I can just come here and copy this of the what you wrote here. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to move this inside this of our body. So you can see how this simple was. If I to go to this of the what is it called, so this was supposed to be our home page of detail, because this signifies this is our home.html. If I go to it, let's say, so since you don't need to specify the file, just on the home page, you can see you are still getting this home page of detail. The reason was because this we still have a function that is running this. So we want to actually render this of the with help of this render, we want to actually render this of our home.html. So how can we actually do this? We are going to return what? We are going to return, let me delete. We are going to return what? This render was what Django automatically imports for us, because this is basically mainly be used to actually because here help us to render HTML files. To actually this, we are going to say close braces. So we are going to say our request, because this is the first argument that this render takes. With the help of this request, we can actually grab the information from the website and then move into our template, or can say our file that we want our country working on. So we are going to which file do we want to actually display on our front end. We want to display this of our home.html. Remember that I said that I'm not going to display much of the HTML and this and CSS and a whole lot of boost. So I'm not going to display really more on there, because this tutorial is more of Django tutorial. So we're going to say our tags. Why did I say tags? This is how Django tend to make it force us to make use of it, because we need to actually specify the folder that holds that of the HTML. I can say the application, because instead of this template, the naming convention is a must. Template, the task. In a situation where this is not task, you need to specify your application name. So we're going to build your task dot what. Since we know that we want to render our home dot what HTML. There's a lot of other parameter that is there, like that of the context. That with help of that context, we can move our information over to that of the HTML file. So let's say we want to actually know whether if we actually get a different result. You can say this is home page render, can say func, so that's supposed to be render. Okay, let's go back. Hope everything is working perfectly. Let's go back and rerun this. You can say this is home page render func, which I just stand for function. So what actually happened here? Remember that this naming convention is really important. Templates slash another folder, which is going to be the tags. In a normal nutshell, Django is going to automatically come and search for what? Template slash tag slash show. So since Django automatically does this, you don't need to actually specify it. So this is how Django wants us to actually do this. Then we can start to pass the information by creating maybe an API. Maybe let's say in a session where we made a request to a particular API, we can make use of that of the context to actually move that of the information or HTML, just moving it over to this server home.html, and they can display it there. So we are going to also create for that of the, you can say about, so sorry, what have I done? I want to say new file. I'm going to say what our about the HTML, simple as that. So I'm going to copy this, just basically similar thing. I'm going to paste Ctrl V. I'm going to paste this. This is about page render function. Remember that we're able to do this because of this. When we go to this of URL that we created here, we already have a pattern that says, oh, if there's nothing, if there's no particular, we are not redirecting somebody to a particular URL, want to actually run this views.home, or when we go to about, we want to actually run views.about. Let's say in a situation whereby we change this of the, we come to this views and change something like about one, we are going to really have an issue. So let's go back to our website and then try to, we need to actually change something like this on the return render, because we are making use of render. So it's going to be about, why do we say about it? Because this was the name that we gave. You can see about.html. So let's actually go do for that of the, let's say about, can see this is about page render function. So you can see with help of this render, we can actually come here and write a complex HTML code, and then with this help of this about, we can actually push it over to our website. You can see how sweet that was, actually simple.